Hey, Dream Chasers, this is Aimee J, and thank you guys so much for tuning in to episode 200 of Chasing Dreams. I'm stoked. I'm above and beyond. There are no words, but I'll try to find them for this conversation we are about to have. Uh, Before we get too far, guys, here is a word from our sponsor. Guys, in this new 200, this is the last episode of season 2. I typically do 100 episodes per season. That'll probably change in this upcoming season. But the reason I say that is we're going to do the behind the scenes with the podcast episode. So for those who are on the podcast audio, this is new. I have started doing behind the scenes interview questions with our guests so that people can get used to know them a little bit more on a more personal level, if you will. And so it works. It kind of puts the guest at ease, if you will. And we have a lot of fun with it. So that is going to be incorporated moving forward in the new season. But because it's just me, myself, and I, we're going to do it now. So I have a bunch of cards. And we are going to pick randomly and see what happens. All right. What do you wish you had learned in school? Financial accounting. True story. I wish we had been better about finances in school. It wasn't necessarily a course. Maybe it is now. I don't know. But I think financial responsibility, accounting, management is something that should be taught in high school, not college, but high school. I think it's an important topic. I wish they had done that. Yeah. So there's that answer. All right. Let's see what's next. What's on your bucket list? Ooh. I have a few things on my bucket list. I'm not going to share all of them. But one of them is Greece. I want to visit Greece. I love Greek mythology. I love the country of Greece. I would love to be able to go to Greece and visit that. That is a bucket list item that I am working on. One more. All right. Ooh. Who would you choose as Time Magazine's Person of the Year? Oh, wow. That is an incredible question. Who would you choose as Time Magazine's Person of the Year? I don't know. I know who I wouldn't choose. I know exactly who I wouldn't choose. This is clearly going to all have to be edited out as I try to come up with this answer. Who would I choose for Time Magazine's Person of the Year? It's always, I always preferred it when I had options. This one doesn't even have options. I know who I wouldn't choose. You know what? I think I would choose Time typically does like images of things that are happening. So it's not necessarily a person, but it's a concept or a group. I would choose the immigrants who are being detained at the borders. I think that's something that should be highlighted and talked about. It's sad. Yeah, so that's a depressing thought, but yes, one I think we should do. I know that was a depressing one, so I'm going to try and end on a positive one. So, which idea of yours would be most likely to make you $1 million? If I share it, though, I can't really share it because it hasn't happened yet. It's in my head. It's on paper. It's actually being discussed. But it's an idea that would help dream chasers and people who don't consider themselves be more productive in their life by holding themselves accountable to the things they're doing. I don't know where this idea will go, but I think it's the most likely of my ideas to do well. So there you have it, folks. A little bit more to get to know about me for you. And, you know, the new segment we are adding to the podcast, which I'm stoked to do. Previously was on the behind the scenes, and now it's going to be a part of the podcast. And that will be episode 201. 201. We are at 200, guys. I am so excited. I am so excited because we are 200 episodes, actually technically 201 because there was an episode 0. Over 185 guests. I did probably 6, I probably actually did 8 or so solo episodes. We were off for several weeks, and it's been an amazing journey. It's been an amazing journey. One I did not think we would reach 200 for. And that's interesting, right? Like, why would I have stopped? Why would I have stopped? Why is it that I would not have thought I'd reach 200 episodes? It doesn't make sense, because looking back on it, it seems, duh, of course I'm going to hit 200. It was just a matter of time. But in actuality, there were moments that I was going to stop the podcast. There were moments that I was going to quit. I'm human. It happens. Some of it was I couldn't find guests. I couldn't find people with a story that needed to be shared, I thought. There were times where I just was so tired juggling a day job and this. And it's a lot. It's a lot trying to find guests, publish, promote. And I'm not very good at social media promotion. I can do social media just when it's for the intent and purpose of helping to spread the word of something. I'm not as good at that. There's a reason people are hired to do a job. And, if you're into social media and you would like to support me and the Chasing Dreams podcast, let me know. Welcome. I'd pay you. So, hey, hit me up. Shoot your shot. Let's see what happens. But all of that adds up. And so it can be exhausting. And so there were moments where I wanted to quit because of that. And there were moments when I didn't think anyone was listening. Didn't think that this was a helping podcast, that it was a benefit to anybody. I had those moments. And then I had friends who would slap my hand or the back of my head for thinking such things, but it's a natural thing to think. And, the devil is a liar and we need to fight him and remind ourselves that that's not the case. And you guys have come out of the woodwork to do that, honestly. We got reviews. We've had feedback notes that were dropped. People will see me in the streets, people I know, people I don't know, and who find out that I do the podcast and have said, hey, I listened to your podcast. And I have been shocked every time. I need to stop doing that. But I've been shocked every time when they go, I listened to Chasing Dreams. Your episode was so powerful. That guest really called me out, and things like that. And it's just, I don't think and you guys understand. Giving compliments and feedback to someone is fuel for the fire. It's fuel for my fire to keep going. It absolutely is. And so if you have ever wondered, should I leave feedback for someone because I've enjoyed something they've done, whether it's the written word, the drawings, artists, their craft, food, if you've enjoyed something, an activity, an event, let them know. Let them know, especially if it's positive feedback. And everyone is very quick to give negative criticism. However, don't be shy or skimpy on the positivity. And, it's so important because it really does encourage someone who may not be feeling up to it. And I was like, hey, this is a labor of love. And I'm not sure if it's really going anywhere, but it is, guys. It is. It's really helping them. So keep that in mind and have people around you who will remind you of that, because I do have those people in my corner, and it's been a godsend for me, but so are you guys who are listening. I appreciate it. It's the best. And so, wow, looking back on the journey of 200, there are some people who have been on the ride from the get, some people who joined the ride because I came into their life and they support me, and that's amazing. 200 episodes. In the beginning, I did everything myself, except for show notes. I have never done my own show notes because I am not good at that. If I had to do my own show notes, we would not have a podcast. It just was not going to happen. So, I have to shout out Carrie Green, Chrissy Hostler, for all that they do in getting me show notes, because it's not an easy job to listen to the episode and then write everything out for you guys to have access to. But it's been I love it. I love that I have show notes. but I did the audio editing myself. I did the graphics myself. I did everything else. And, I know I preach that everyone should do a little bit of everything so they know the inner workings of a business. Technically, I did show notes for my first podcast. So I'm counting that as my experience. So, it's been, I look back at it now and it seems like it should be easy, but it's still a busy thing. Even when I outsource my audio editing, even if I outsource, well, now I'm doing my own social again, hoping not to, remember, but it still takes time to find your guests because I don't want to just have any old person on here, right? That's not the thing. And I noticed as we were heading to 200, I was getting more and more business podcasts. So many business podcasts. And I did not want to have people on the show to talk about business. Dreams aren't always business. And dreams are definitely not just money, right? When you chase the money, you're already on a slippery slope and you're just going down, right? So I did not want to have that on the show and that be the thing we promote. Now, there are people with businesses, just like I have a lot of podcasters on here. I don't talk about the podcast and I try not to talk about the business, but I want to talk about the motivation for it. I want to talk to you about why you're doing what you're doing. What has that led you to? That's important to me. So when people, so FYI for anybody listening who wants to shoot your shot, don't come pitching me business. That's not going to get you in the door. That's going to get you a big old, sorry, all the best, no, it's a no. Because that's not where we're at. That's not what we're doing. And that's not what I want to encourage. I don't want the world full of business entrepreneurs chasing their dreams. That's not at all what I want. I want you to chase your dream because that's what you need to do, right? So that's, it was a struggle. And because of that, it could be tough. It could be tough. And so, there's a lot to say for it. But the guests I've had on my show, first rate. I've loved my guests. They've been awesome. There are a handful that, no, I love my guests. We'll just go with that. I love my guests. And I've learned a lot from my guests. It's very interesting. I've talked about it before that I'm going to do a book based on the lessons that these guys have done. So me and my VA, we worked on this and we did a study of, I want to say about 168 episodes. We haven't had a chance to update it, but we did about 168 and we looked at all the lessons that were given by our dream chasers. And each guest had their own variation. But what we did was we kind of compiled these lessons into things that are pretty much the same, right? And so when we did that, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, about 14 common lessons that were given out, 14, 15 common lessons that were shared by our dream chasers over the span of like 168 episodes. I'm going to share with you guys the top 5 because I think these are amazing and important. So number 5, tied for 5, mentorship. The dream chasers have said you need to have a mentor. You need to have a coach, someone to look up to and to help you, guide you through the process. And it's so true. So true. When you go in alone, it's not that there's anything wrong with it, but I think you're missing out on the best part, which is guidance and help from an individual. And so mentorship was something that was said in about 7 episodes or so. Tied for 5th is stay true to yourself. So 7 guests have said you need to stay true to yourself. That's number 7. That's number 5, tied for 5th, is stay true to yourself. And what does that mean? That means, be honest with yourself. What is it you're trying to do? What is it you want to do? And follow that path. If that means you have to change the path you're on now, do it. Do it. It's never too late. It's never too late. A lot of people who are elderly and facing death, immediate death for whatever reason, might be health, have regret. Wish they could have done something sooner. So don't live with that regret. Make the change. It's never too late. It's never too late. There's always a way. Okay. So number four, write it down. This is huge. 10 guests have shared this one, and it's important because there is something about writing it down. It holds you accountable. It's a visual reminder for yourself, right? And it's there. You know, if you ever start getting tired and you're like, why am I doing this? You look at that. What did you write down? Look at that. Look at that. So that was number 4. Number 3, have courage. This one's tough. This one's tough. It's easy to say, have courage. It's tough to do. It's tough to do. You can be honest with yourself, as number 4 or number 5 had said, but having the courage to do something about it is the key. It won't be an easy road. It won't be a short road, but that's what you have to commit to. You know, so have the courage, embrace the fears you're facing. I faced fears when I decided to leave my job at a government agency, right? I worked at NASA Goddard Space Flight Center. I left it to go to law school, 6-figure debt, and I don't regret it. I don't, except for the debt part. I loved my experience in law school. I loved the pivot I made. I made that at 28. So it's never too late to make a change. There are people who are in their 40s, 50s, 60s who are going back to school, going to get an education, community college, whatever, changing their careers. There are lawyers who have become writers who have become business owners. It doesn't matter. Be true to yourself. Have courage with what you want to do. And I want to encourage you to do that. Okay? So that's number 3. Number 2, go for it. Go for it. 11 people said have the courage. 12 people said go for it. Just go for it. And it's self-explanatory, but it also goes back to number 3, which was have the courage. It's not easy. You got to have the courage to go for it, but go for it, right? The world needs you to be happy, because the more that you're happy, the more the people around you will see you're happy. And then that it's a ripple effect. It's a butterfly effect. I've talked about it before, and I mean it, right? You know, it's so important for you to do this, guys. Go for your dreams. Chase them. Chase them. So the 12 people said that. So to recap, number 5, mentorship. Number 5 tied was stay true to self. Number 4, write it down. Visualization. Number 3, have the courage. Number 2, go for it. And the number 1 lesson given by 17 dream chasers. Every dream starts with a small step. It's true. You don't have to have a big step in order to make it actually feasible. Start with a small step, right? If your goal is to go, for me, for example, if my goal is to go to Greece, I need to start learning about Greece. I need to start looking into flight tickets, right? I'm not going to jump the step of buying a ticket. Start with a small step. Look into it. Do the research, right? Take a step towards your dreams, whatever it is. You know, if it's photography, buy a camera. If it's photography, take a class. You know, whatever it is, there is a small step that you can take. Don't just jump. Don't just jump to the first thing that you see, because that's not going to do you anything. If anything, actually, if you go to look to take the biggest step you can initially, you are increasing the likelihood of you stopping in between and cutting off your dream chase short, right? The small step that you take is a win. And the next small step is another win. You're building wins and building the wins on your dream chase journey. It's not one of the lessons that people have said. It's one I ascribe to, right? It's not just about the destination. It's not just about the goal you have. It's about the journey. It's about the dream chase. That's why this show has been called Chasing Dreams, because it's about that purpose. I'm not saying don't go for the goal. I'm not saying don't go for that dream that you have, right? Absolutely, you should be aiming for it. Absolutely, you should be going for it. What I'm saying, though, is you should be having fun at the same time. You should be enjoying your life at the same time you're doing it, because that's what it's about, right? That is what it's about. And so people often get confused, like it's all or nothing. Well, hey, he's back. He's back on the throttle there. Calm down. It's about the journey, because you don't know what tomorrow is going to give you. Tomorrow's not promised for a lot of us. So at the end of the day, at the end of your life, when you look back, can you say that you enjoyed your life? These are the things you have to think about, right? So these are the top 6 really, lessons from our Dream Chase guests from the past 200 episodes. Amazing. They were amazing lessons. And ones I kept reading, as I was reading it, I would be like, yes, preach. No wonder. And it was a nice blast from the past for me to read that and see that. And it's true. It's true. Something for you guys to know. The other thing I wanted to share with you guys is, there's a time and season for everything, right? Things can change. Your life circumstances can change. This time last year, I was in Baltimore. But this time 2 years ago, I was in Philadelphia by myself. Now I'm back here living with my parents to help my dad and his health and stuff. And, that wasn't in the cards. I thought it was Philly. I thought that's where I would be. So you don't know how things will change. And so here I am back at home. Life is good, but, I think it's time for a small change, right? One of the things I've always wanted to do is be a speaker. Share the message of chasing dreams. Share the knowledge of internet safety. Advocate against cyberbullying. These are things and dreams that I've had. But if I only focus on this one dream of the podcast, I'm never going to have time to do the other stuff that I've been wanting to do. And that's because the podcast takes time. So I say all that to say, starting with episode 201, the podcast, the weekly Chasing Dreams podcast, is now going to be the bi-weekly Chasing Dreams podcast. Not an easy decision, guys. Not an easy decision, but one I had to make for a few reasons. One, financially, it does cost to keep a podcast going. And we did raise funds, which, amazingly, you guys helped me raise over $3,000 for the podcast to keep it going. We'd be able to keep it going for an additional 6 months. And, I'm going to cut back on the episodes so that I can keep doing the podcast, but also keep chasing my other dreams. Second reason is I want to give time to developing myself as a speaker, being on stage, sharing the message that I have. And also I want to reach people so that they'll be guests on the show and not new listeners. This isn't anything on y'all. You guys can still be guests on my show. Start making those changes, start chasing your dreams. But there are people who don't even hear the podcast, and I want to make sure we can kind of reach them in a different way, in a different avenue. And so that's my purpose with scaling back. Just give me some time to, one, work on my speech, find opportunities. If you have an opportunity, would love to have me speak at an event or organization, let me know. Hit me up. I'm on all social. Emails Aimee at aimej21.com. So reach out to me, let me know. And that's kind of the next step, I think, right? I think the podcast is something that is helping still others. It's helping me because I still love doing interviews. I still love doing all these things, and I want to keep doing it. But in order to find a balance for myself and a life for myself and still be able to do all the things I want to do, I got to make changes. And so you may find yourself in a similar situation. It may be the fact that this is a new quarter. We are in quarter 3 of the year, July, halfway through 2019. And you just may be taking stock of your life because it's a birthday, anniversary, or just because it's a Wednesday or Tuesday or whatever day of the week it is you're listening to this. Sometimes there is a time and season, and it's okay to close the door on one thing and open the door to another. Now, I'm not saying go quit your jobs or anything. Absolutely not. Please don't put that on me. But I'm saying it's okay if you have to rethink and make changes. That's part of life. It's part of what you have to do, right? So guys, I want to thank you so much for joining me on this amazing episode that we are sharing with you today. Had so much fun. I can't believe we're at 200. I want to thank all of my past guests. You guys are amazing. You are a blessing. You are the reason we are at 200 just as much as my listeners. You guys, I'm humbled. The fact that you listen, that you support, that my family, my friends, strangers, people I don't even know on the interwebs are listening to this means a lot to me. Truly, truly. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So guys, we will be back with episode 201 on July 24th with MC Vikram. And if you enjoyed this episode or any of the other episodes of Chasing Dreams and you would like to do so, please leave an honest rating and review on your favorite podcast platform like iTunes or Google Play or whatever it is. That would mean a lot to me, and I thank you for it in advance. And if not, no worries. We'll still keep doing what we're doing, right? All right, guys, if you want to find the show notes for this episode, you can do so by going to AimieJ21.com/episode 200. That's episode 200. All right, Dream Chasers, until next time, keep chasing.